Okay, so it seems like there's been another part to this whole Nijisanji situation, which I thought was a very important part to kind of add on to here, because, again, I've gotten an actual full document of this Barry Loaf situation. Essentially, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Now, we covered all the stuff with Ike and him getting bullied and doxxed by a lot of kind of members and stuff within Nijisanji, and Nijisanji doing nothing about it, literally just kind of being like, oh, right, okay, anyways, we'll switch your groups and we won't take any further action, which I thought was pretty insane. And obviously there's been a lot of different parts, including obviously conversations with Marie FD, also known as Reimu Endou, who obviously was a part of Nijisanji and has now gone indie, right? And yeah, this final response was obviously cut off because of the terms of service, but now we have access to the full thing, and it reveals a lot of information about Vox Akuma and a potential kind of misconduct going on with a fan, which is very, very interesting, because if you don't know, obviously Marie FD and Vox were kind of involved with each other, and yeah, there's some kind of relationship going on there, and then obviously, yeah, she went to Ike pretty often for some kind of relationship advice, apparently, and this was all revealed within this document here. Now, they say my former partner, who's obviously Ike, my former partner, yeah, Ike, had a friend who developed an unhealthy attachment towards him, which subsequently created a toxic dynamic and led to his exclusion from multiple social gatherings while she was in the process of healing from a prior relationship. My former partner was a very kind and supportive friend to everyone. Marie often turned to him for dating advice. She frequently had vent sessions with him about her insecurities and issues she encountered while speaking about anonymous websites. Now, obviously, yeah, as you can see here, these are the screenshots between Ike and Marie FD, or Reimu, whoever you want to know them by. And obviously, yeah, it's very obvious. And you can see here, they're talking about Vox, because Marie and Vox were, involved. They were very, they were in a relationship, essentially. They say, so they said, so one day we were working in the studio and she called him, said Vox's fan base. So obviously they are talking about a fan here. Said, and he was in the bathroom, so I cut the call, Lamau, I'm sorry. And when I did ended up reading the first page of their convo, I'm so sorry, I know that was wrong, but I didn't scroll up or anything. It was just the latest log. It says, yeah, no, that's really not okay. I said, when you cancel the call, the little tab disappears and the convo is like right there. So I ended up reading, and I noticed they legitimately call like every 2 days for, like, not exaggerating, like for like 8 hours. And she sent him a bikini picture. And when I saw that, I was like, Lamau, I left the room, didn't say anything. I was jealous. I couldn't concentrate. I was scared if I stayed, I just want to scroll up and read more. So that's highly inappropriate, in my personal opinion, on their part, I mean. And obviously then she goes off and talks about it even more, saying, so I just went to another room and worked. Then we had a talk in the bathtub, and I told him about how uncomfortable she made me and how I wanted him to at least make some boundaries. I made it clear. I didn't want him to cut off because the least I wanted is to, like, limit his friendships and seem like those annoying, jealous, controlling girlfriends. But, like, at least just treat her as an artist you're commissioning, because that's what he wanted to do, supposedly. So, yeah, it seems like it was a fan who was, supposed to originally be an artist, like a commissioned artist, but then it seems like it's obviously turned into a little bit more there. They said, I got emotional and we fought. So obviously, yeah, she was drunk and they fought. And he strangely got, like, really defensive and had to clear out, like, no joke, 4 times in the convo. I wasn't blaming him and that it wasn't his fault. And all I wanted were boundaries. And he kept saying he couldn't cut her off because he was scared of what she would do if he did. And he just didn't know what to do. So every time I asked him, so what am I getting, what I get from this? Nothing will happen. I just need to get used to it then. And, like, I felt like he was slowly shifting the convo to be, towards, like, me being that annoying, jealous girlfriend, Lamau. I felt really bad, like, to the point I felt like I was the bad guy and I shouldn't be talking about it again. I said it was bad. Right now I feel better because I just tried to do stuff and think on something else. But, like, I felt so anxious when it was happening, and I don't know. I kept telling him at this point I didn't trust him. Said, oh, I was reading that docs page. They're talking a lot about blank. Again, I'm not sure if they were talking about someone else, but said, are you guys dating? And I got so annoyed. Oh, about her. Yeah, about her. but at some point he did at some point he did tell me, she just casually asked one day, I was reading the docs thing about so yeah, obviously it seems like that person found out about Reimu and Vox dating, and said, I got pissed. I said, he answered, oh no, Lamau, and I told him I didn't like it. He said it was just for acting and blah blah blah, but the fact that she came to ask him about it made me super pissed off. Not even my friends do that. That snooping attitude kind of annoys me. So again, obviously it seems like that person, that fan or that artist or whatever, obviously found a doxing document on them about them dating and things, and asked them, and then Vox just kind of dismissed it like, no, why'd I ever do that? Which, yeah, it's obviously I can understand on one side of things. It's like, okay, you're trying to protect the privacy, so you just say no. But at the same time, I mean, it feels like they're a little bit closer than just a fan at this point now. So you got to kind of tell them that, yes, I am in a relationship though. Like, you could say like, no, but you could also just say, you know, I'm not, but I am in a relationship. You could just leave it at that. But again, obviously, he just says no, which obviously makes him seem a lot more available, you know. And apparently, she looks at 4chan and the doc sites all the time and brings that I said, I just don't like her, Lamau. I said, at one point, the convo, I did tell him, what if she just randomly sends you a nude, or I don't know, pictures in underwear, bikini? I didn't tell him I knew because she'd sent it. And he said, oh no, if that happens, I just cut her off right there. And obviously, she already knows that she has sent an image like that before, and he hasn't cut her off immediately, it seems like. So that is pretty crazy. Said Sai, yeah, that complicates things a lot, and that's about it. It's like a quick summary. So, sorry for vomiting it all out again. I kept trying to make him understand the kind of power he had in this sort of situation. Like, having a female friend is fine, like how even talking to them a lot is fine, but it'd be a bit strange to be calling for that long with someone you're not even romantically interested in, because that girl is a fan and she's in love with him. So again, obviously that is confirmed there that it is a fan and not just like some other streamer or whatever, right? Which I think is pretty interesting. And yeah, it's very, very unprofessional. You shouldn't do that with fans and stuff. Obviously, we know that a lot of male and female VTubers big drive sometimes, and there's a lot of VTuber agencies out there, and I think Nijisanji goes into it a little bit in terms of like, their one job is to make you fall for that person, right? Which obviously you then leave it at that. You know, they fall for them, they're a fan, they donate, give subs or whatever they do, but they never talk to them. And I think obviously she's taken it one step further, right? Which obviously is not good at all. They said that's contradicting statements. So yeah. The more I kind of like tried pushing it in at least an aggressive way, the more he ended up like contradicting and then panicking because past trauma, and like saying he was scared of cutting her off. So it just ended with try to make boundaries because what the hell, they said, I think boundaries is reasonable. It's just like, personally, I would never engage this much with a fan. Said, my former partner and I never had problems whenever it came to female friends. I've always been open about my interactions with women and even drawn fan art, something I did because I wanted to celebrate different dynamics. I traveled to Japan to watch them perform. I bought merchandise from many of the girls. I slept over at Blank's house, I'm guessing that's Ike. I've even collabed with multiple mutual female friends. However, it is important to note that I stopped drawing after one of her fans attacked my thumbnail art unprovoked. I stopped because of insecurity about my art, but not my relationship. So yeah, obviously, she then goes on to talk about a lot about how Mary talks a lot about 4chan and stuff in particular, and it just so happens to be that there's a 4chan user talking about Barry Loaf quite a lot on 4chan. Now, again, obviously that part of the document I'm not too sure on. There isn't 100% proof that Marie FD or Reimu, or whatever you want to call it, is on 4chan spreading a lot of this information, right? It just doesn't seem very cool to me. Yes, you know, there is a big coincidence there, and I do think, you know, there could be a small possibility that it is her, but you can't prove it. So I think it's pretty crazy to be going and accusing her of, you know, doxing Barry and everything like that. But for this part of the video, I just kind of wanted to show the kind of misconduct that was going on with a fan, which I thought was pretty interesting from Vox Akuma's point of view. Because again, it shows you the truth behind a lot of stuff that goes on at Nijisanji and how some of the talent act behind the scenes, right? Including obviously him lying about some of the stuff to Reimu and you know, saying that, you know, oh, I'll cut her off straight off if she sent me a certain picture, right? And you know, she already knows that she did send a picture like that and still not cut off. You know, it just shows you the true character behind some of these people, right? Which I do think is very interesting to this entire case. Now, obviously, we talked about Ike being bullied in the last video and being doxxed by these people too, which yeah, again, obviously, I think now this has split this document into 3 parts. We covered the whole like Reimu potentially doxing Bari thing, which again I just think is, you know, there could be a slight possibility that could be true, but there isn't enough proof or evidence to fully prove that and for me to be like, yes, that 100% happened. So again, a lot of people are not very secure on that. It obviously is terrible that she's being harassed and doxed and stuff on 4chan, whoever it is, but again, there is no proof, like solid proof, apart from her talking about 4chan a couple times, that it is her. And then we split into the Vox, sorry, not Vox, Ike being kind of bullied, doxed and whatever. Terrible. Nijisanji did nothing about it. Absolutely horrible that has even happened to him. And then we go on to the final part, which is the truth about Vox. And obviously, you know, the interactions he's had with a fan. Now, has he done that with more fans? I don't know. Obviously, there could be more stuff that comes out at a later date. But so far, it seems to have only happened with one fan. And yeah, it's pretty unprofessional behavior. Now, is it illegal? I don't think so. You know, obviously, I'm assuming that person is over 18. It's not illegal, but also at the same time, it's very, very unprofessional. It's just not great. You know, you shouldn't really be doing that with a fan. Everybody knows that, especially as a VTuber who farms a lot of parasocial people, right? Again, that is, you're just asking to get something leaked. Like, you're just asking for, you know, you to cut them off one day. And obviously, you know, you can even see that Vox is very scared about cutting it off due to what could happen. Again, he knows how much kind of peril he is in for even interacting with a fan, because again, fans have less to lose than a big streamer, right? Whenever it comes to, you know, obviously a cut-off relationship. Say if he cuts her off and then he leaks, you know, some pictures, or she leaks some pictures of him or whatever, and then it could go really bad. You know, it could go terrible, and that's why that's one of the reasons why you don't interact with them. Also, just because it's extremely unprofessional as well. And yeah, even, you know, you could see the Vox knew that as well, that, you know, this was something that you cannot really escape now once you've done it. And yeah, it's just not great. But as I said, it's not illegal, but again, it just does kind of show you how unprofessional he has been. And also, there's also the case of, you know, his relationship with Reimu too. You know, obviously that is terrible in a relationship kind of standard too, because you're essentially cheating. You know, they haven't like fully cheated, physical cheating. I'm not sure what really took place between them, obviously apart from that picture, but it's on the verge of cheating. It's getting there, and obviously he is interested in this other woman while still being in a relationship. Obviously, I don't think I'll go as far as calling it cheating, because I don't think they have interacted, you know, in person, but again, it's still not great. You know, you wouldn't be happy if your boyfriend or girlfriend was chatting someone online for like hours on end. I totally understand why Reimu was very unhappy about that and went to someone like Ike to talk about it. And obviously Ike was just there to kind of be someone to talk to. So again, that is essentially everything from this at the moment. Obviously, I'll continue to give you guys updates if there is anything else, because this is pretty crazy, you know. It's very, very hard to understand, so I hope that this has kind of helped you kind of understand a little bit more. As I said, I've got previous videos going over the other stuff too, if you want to watch those. So again, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to Game Subs, use my code CASA, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And also, sorry for my voice again. I've been a little bit ill. I've been on vacation recently. So again, it's, yeah, kind of caught up. And some people were ill over there, so I've managed to catch that. But I should be fine in a couple of days' time. And yeah, we are back to content now that I am back home. But yeah, that's all I got. I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.